Hi guys, before we get into it, I just wanted to say my shop is going to be opening soon, so look out for that. And also, I didn't finish a part of this drawing, so you'll notice that the wheel and the steering wheel and then the wheels of the fire truck are not done, and that is because I wasn't able to finish the drawing in time and I needed to upload the video. I've had this waiting for a while, so yeah. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry I'm speaking so low. It's 2 a.m. You know what I always do. I record late and and I haven't really been feeling well, but I have a lot of video ideas and I'm hoping to continue to push them out now that I feel a lot more satisfied, since this drawing I did, even though it's taking forever, it's a lot better than anything I've ever done before. And yeah, I'm really satisfied with what I did. So that's contributing to the excitement that I feel, and the it's propelling me forward, so that I want to draw more of this character and a lot more of the ideas I have. I'm actually really excited to go back to this other idea I have in mind that I was struggling with before, and I don't know how I'm going to take it on, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to pick up speed with drawing as well, because I literally spent a few days on this fire truck alone. It's ridiculous. I think my amount of time in the file was probably, it was 2 hours, and that wasn't even when I was finished with it. That was just the flats. I had gotten up to doing the flat colors, so that means I spent 2 hours sketching and resketching over and over and over, because I didn't line it, because I decided to do a different style. Let me see. Okay, I spent 15 hours in here. 15 hours, and most of it was just drawing a fire truck, literally. And yeah, I don't know. I had fun doing it though at the end of the day, but I still think it's crazy that I spent 15 hours and most of it was drawing a fire truck, and I still didn't even finish. And 15 hours is almost a day. So if I were to speed up my process, it'd be a lot easier to post more often online and post my drawings and stuff. I'm gonna try to incorporate more objects for real. I always say that, and I never do it, but for some reason, something really clicked within me, and I want to make a video about how I was able to obtain the skill of drawing in perspective and drawing objects by just having something in my head really click. And so I hope you guys want to see that, because it will probably come a little bit after something else, or it will be the next video. I don't know. I'm trying to think about how to plan things out so I can film and then get out videos on time. I don't know. There's always a lot of stuff going on, so yeah, let me get into the artist propaganda. Bye. Hello everybody, it's Scribbs. Welcome back to a new video. This week we are going to be talking about art propaganda. We are not falling for it, okay? We're not falling for it. I'm looking at a Reddit, but there's also a few things that was said on under the tab where I asked this. No, on Twitter I asked this, and somebody said they're not falling for line art. Okay, I don't think that you have to do line art either. Personally, it's not that big of a deal to me to do line art or not. But I just really love line art, so I get it if people don't want to do it. You know what I mean? But I also get why it's there. I feel like the problem is that people avoid doing line art because it's kind of hard to do. Because when you do it by paper, hand isn't steady, but you really get to train your hand to be steady. And then digitally, you don't have to train your hand to be steady because there's like so many tools that just make it so you can have your hand be wobbly as hell, and it just will end up working out because of the settings that are available in digital art. This next one resonates with me more. I'm not falling for this propaganda that all art has to have some profound meaning. This one used to really screw me up when I first started drawing, because I thought like I had to have meaning behind my art, so I would try to like deny myself. Like I would be like, I'm not a real artist because I'm not drawing something with a deeper meaning. Like a lot of the times I was really just drawing like just cute stuff, but then when I started to learn about more about what art was, like how a urinal, like the first ever urinal that was made was like exhibited in museums and it was art, and basically like anything could be art. So it's not actually as, you know what I mean, it's not actually as strict as I thought it was, and that, you know, allowed me to have a little bit more confidence in myself and really mess with how I draw and everything. And yeah, I learned about like character design, concept art, all this stuff. So I myself wouldn't say that I'm any of those things, but I would say that I don't necessarily feel as, how do you say, I don't necessarily feel as invalidated as an artist, even though I don't know that I do anything productive with my art, you know? Because even though it doesn't have meaning per se, it's still, like, it's still nothing happens with it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, apparently there's a take out there that using the Zorn palette will save you money. I didn't even know this was propaganda that people were pushing. That's so funny to me, because I get why I think I get why somebody would say that, but I can't imagine that people were telling like others to get the Zorn palette mainly because of that, or that was, or maybe they were just saying it as like it's an added bonus. Like that makes more sense to me. This one is really interesting. Drawing 100 boxes. Okay, so I'm gonna say the reason that I usually have a problem with this sort of propaganda isn't because of like because it's bad or anything. It's literally just because when they tell you to do it in school, it's kind of like, I don't know what to say. When they tell you to do it in school, they don't really explain why you're doing it. So it gets really boring, you know, when you do that. But if they were just to say, oh, the reason why you would want to do X, Y, and Z is because if you were going to draw, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think. If you were going to draw SpongeBob from the top down and you wanted it to look, like, accurate. Actually, I'm not even going to say accurate because that still sounds too technical. I would say if you were going to draw SpongeBob and you wanted him to look nice and, like, you drew him and it looked weird, the reason is because of perspective. And the exercises in the beginning seem so annoying and so pointless until you actually try to draw something and you realize you can't do it. And like when you're first starting out, you have a lot of, would you say gumption? Or you have like a lot of, you don't mind if your art sucks, you know? It's like totally okay to you if the art sucks because you're trying it out and you're just kind of happy that you drew it in the first place. And so then when you start to improve, that's when you really notice that, like, dang, if I was doing the exercises from the beginning, I would have been further along in my journey and I would have been able to draw this with no problem. So I think that's what the explanation should sound like more, but unfortunately, they just, I don't know. I think teachers are very weird when it comes to art and explaining why you do what you do. Okay, so I see something about that you as an artist are supposed to use Apple. I always thought, I don't know about this propaganda if I'm being honest, but I will tell you, this is the propaganda I'm not falling for. That you need to start out with like good products to be an artist. I think a lot of the time what happens is like people get in their heads and they're like, oh, I have to use like a Wacom Cintiq and stuff. And I know this person who went out, and I guess because they could afford it, but it was definitely not really like they had a passion about art, and it was more they wanted attention. So they like bought and they're also a terrible person, so I'm not saying any of this to be like mean, okay? So they also bought the art to, so they started drawing, and of course it's the beginning, and it's like they're at the beginning of their journey, so it's like not the greatest art ever, but it's also like you got a really expensive thing just to get attention, and if you had known, like, if you really wanted to draw, I feel like, I don't know, that investment wasn't going to change anything. You know, you can start off doing whatever it is you want to do and get to that level where then you, if you really want a Wacom Cintiq, you can get it. But like, did you really want it, or you were just like, everybody else gets it and it seems like it's good, so I'm gonna do that? Because that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about. Oh, this one's interesting. Saying art is subjective to dismiss valid critique, and separating the art from the artist. Okay, so separating the art from the artist, I have a little bit of commentary about this. There's an artist on here that I used to really love, but they really rubbed me the wrong way. They had 2 incidents where it was like, for their own enjoyment, they were having some little biases, right? And I never talked about it like in public or anything, but I had like given money to this person, so quote unquote material support, and I completely regret it. I do not support them in any future endeavors or anything, even though I think their art is beautiful, because they weren't cultivating a safe space for trans people or for black people, and that was important to me, as I'm black. You've seen my hands before, you guys know that. So and I just don't want to be in a community where like your enjoyment takes precedent over like what people have to go through every day, you know? Like, sure, you get to continue consuming this media, or you can just say certain stuff about how you feel without even thinking about the fact that like people die every day just for being black or for being trans, and you're gonna put your enjoyment over that. I'm not trying to signal who it is, so I'm just trying to be as vague as possible. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, even though I didn't say it all. Okay? But yeah. And so I don't really think I can separate the art from the artist, but that doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden going to be like, but actually, yeah, this person's untalented or whatever. No, like, the person is very talented, and like, it sucks that they don't seem to be a good person in that regard. But yeah, the other thing, this critiquing, valid critique thing is so complicated, because I think what happens is people get like really sensitive when they're critiqued, especially if they feel like it's a personal attack. So that brings me to my last thing. There is no way that your art is ever going to feel like separated from you. So when people are like, get used to taking critiques and not getting it personally, yeah, I'm not falling for that. I think you just, either people don't care or they just like toughen up and stop caring, or pretend to stop caring. But for me, I'm always gonna care. If somebody says something, if somebody says anything, I just get so hurt. And that's just who I am. That's who I've always been. So I'm not really looking to change that anytime soon. But what I do know is that it's a big part of like growing. So I prefer when I ask for feedback if people give it to me, but I don't want people to give it to me if I didn't ask for it. Okay? And I feel like a lot of times people do that, and it's extremely annoying. But yeah, that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever it's called. I can't remember right now.